What's up, self-healers? Lisa Lightfeather here. Welcome to my channel, Closing the Gap. We make a conscious effort to meet you where you're at on your healing and your spiritual journey. Thank you to all of my subscribers. You are greatly appreciated. If you enjoy my content and you're new here, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And hit the bell notification so that you know when I upload. So we are currently going through our series of Chiron through the houses of the astrological chart. And we are on house 7. So we're on house 7. Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron was wounded. You can do your research about Chiron, the wounded healer. But he abstained a wound with the poison arrow. The mythology goes, he abstained a wound with the poison arrow that he could not heal. But in his efforts to heal himself, he became a master of healing others with this wound. Yes? Or with similar wounds. So Chiron in Libra, or the 7th house. So let's talk about Libra. So Libra is ruled by Venus. It's an air sign. Venus rules love, balance, harmony, and beauty. And so Libra strives for balance. Yes. Some people say that Libra is just naturally balanced, but I tend to disagree with that. I believe that Libra is constantly seeking balance. And so Libra tries to keep the balance in their relationships. Yes. And so Libra seeks communication, seeks communication and understanding. And so what Libra will do is Libra will try to keep the balance and keep the peace and ensure that all parties are happy. Yeah. And so that's the value that they bring into the astrological wheel, is seeing both sides of the story. Yes, not really taking a side to the left or right, but seeing both sides of the story. And this has its place and it has its value. Libra values being in relationship. They seek someone who balances them out. Yes. And so that's where the scales come in at. Oh, so some of the, I guess the shadow aspects of Libra would be that they tend to be indecisive. Because they want to keep the peace, they tend to be indecisive, because they, and because they want to keep the peace and not have issues on one side or the other of the scale, it sometimes requires that they don't speak their own individual truth. Yes. So what is the 7th house? The 7th house is the house of relationships. It's the house of partnerships. It's how we relate to others, whether that be in intimacy, business, families, or friends. Yeah. And so 7th house is the house of relationships. So when you have a pain body here in the 7th house, what does that look like? And so sometimes the pain body can be caused by the child may have, as a child, the child may have been exposed to domestic violence with the mother and the father, or the two people within the family going at each other, and so there was always conflict or something of that sort. When the child was very young, it was exposed to that. And that pain body can develop into, remind you that these pain bodies are within our chart when we take our first breath, but the pain body can be developed in the womb as well. So if the mother was pregnant with the child and she abstained trauma or domestic violence or neglect or abuse, this gets transferred to the child. Yeah. And so the child can be born with, Chiron, the wounded healer, in the 7th house of relationships. Yes. And so what does this pain body look like? It can manifest in things such as codependency, like not really knowing how to be by yourself. It can manifest in conflict avoidance, like I don't want any conflict, and so when that happens, it can manifest into over accountability, like, okay, I don't want to be, I don't want you to be wrong, and I don't want to be wrong, but they'd rather themselves be wrong, so they'll over account for whatever else is going on in the relationship. And this way it makes them feel as though they are in control, because if it's me, then I can fix it. But a lot of times over accountability negates the person who was actually responsible for the trauma that's occurring within the relationship, or the disagreements or the imbalance that's occurring within the relationship. And so this can be with intimate partners, it can be with family members, it can be with business partners, it can be with just everyday friends. And so when there's not, when the other person isn't being held accountable, and the person with Chiron in the 7th is taking all the hits. And so, and Chiron, people with Chiron in the 7th, they can identify what's going on within their relationships. All their pain and their trauma comes from other relationships, friends, family, lovers. And so they can identify a pattern of behavior, like, what are my patterns? What do I keep seeing over and over again? And once they identify that pattern of behavior, this type of person that I'm attracting over and over again, once they get experience with that, they can see it. But because Libra in the 7th house is so involved in being in relationships, with the Chiron here, they can overlook red flags repeatedly. Excuse me. And so in overlooking red flags, they repeat the same type of relationship. Spirit must be trying to tell me something. Anyways, in overlooking red flags, they can repeat the same type of relationships over and over again, attracting the same person in a different body. It can be a different race. It can be a different sex. It can be a different gender. It can be a different nationality, whatever it is. But it's the same spirit over and over again. So one of the things that Chiron in the 7th needs to practice doing is seeing these patterns of behavior and being able to identify it, and trusting in themselves, being decisive and trusting themselves that I've seen this behavior before. This person has been here before. They looked different. They smelled different. They had a different personality, but the spirit is the same. Yes. And so that's one way that Chiron in the 7th can begin healing themselves and detecting these people. And once they start healing themselves through the codependency, the conflict avoidance, and the overlooking the red flags and things of that sort, they will begin to attract different. Yes. But Chiron in the 7th or in Libra, their biggest pain body comes from their relationships. So how can one with Chiron in the 7th or Chiron in Libra heal themselves? Yes. So one of the things primary things that they need to do, it's shadow work, basically. And so the codependency, the need to be needed, or the need to need someone else. You can't stand by yourself. You need to learn how to be alone. And then when you're with someone because you want to be there. They're with you because they want to be there, not because one feels like I have to have this person in my life. Yeah. It's a desire to be there because that's what you want to do, and not because you feel some type of way if you're not there. The codependency, you understand, it's the where two people need one another. You have the rescuer and the one that needs to be rescued, or you have the healer and the one that needs to be healed. And so when we're healers, we naturally attract people who need to be healed. And because we are healers, especially when we're babies in our healing journey, we can attract people who need to be healed. You'll do that for the rest of your life, but you'll attract people who need to be healed, and then you just automatically go into this mission where you're going to heal this person, you're going to help this person. And the sad fact is that not everybody really wants to be healed, and not everybody really needs you to do so. And so they have their own journey, their own process. So you play your part in their life while they're there, and then let them go on their journey. Yeah, you do play a part in their healing, but it is not Chiron in the 7th house to responsibility to heal someone 100%. Yes. So you play your part and then allow this person to move on in their journey. Standing up for yourself, conflict resolution. Instead of saying, well, you're right and you're right, so both of y'all are right, but that doesn't really solve anything. And so you either just stay out of it. Look, that's between y'all. Or when it comes to you and there's conflict resolution, you practice speaking your truth, standing in your power, saying, no, I'm not I'm not agreeing with this. No, you are wrong. Or I'm not agreeing with this. You're not wrong, but you know, or admitting that even, okay, it was me, and that ends it. But when you don't have good conflict resolution, it leaves things gray, and nothing is ever really solved. And that right there can develop into passive aggressive behavior. And so speaking your truth, standing in your truth and saying, yes, I was wrong, and I'll fix it. I mean, I'll fix myself. I'll make myself better. Not via over accountability. You know or not if you were wrong, right? And you know or not if the other person is wrong. Just stand solid on that. You're not taking responsibility for the other person's issues, because Chiron in the seventh house, or Libra, can be over accountable, leaving themselves vulnerable to everybody else's trauma. People pick up on when you're over accountable, and there are people who will take advantage of that. And so further increasing the wound of Chiron in the seventh. And so Chiron in the seventh, standing up for themselves, standing their ground, no matter how uncomfortable it feels. No codependency. I don't need to heal you. I'm here if you need me, but I don't have to heal you. Once you start seeing that pattern of behavior, that you're attracting people over and over again, that you're having to rescue or you're having to heal or something like that, you can break that habit by allowing yourself to not be responsible for everyone's healing or for saving everyone. Yeah. Because there's plenty of people out there to save, and they will never stop coming. But you don't want to develop the habit of codependency. Okay, so we've talked about how they can self-heal, like identifying the patterns, identifying the people. What triggers you in a person? When a person does something on the other side, when they do something and it triggers you and it makes you angry, that's an indication of something in you that needs to be healed. So if a person deliberately tries to make you jealous or deliberately tries to disrespect you in public, and it triggers you, then this is the indication of this is something that needs to be healed within you. For example, being disrespected, like, and you get angry or you get frustrated or whatever. These are indications that's a pain body, right? So you need to try to heal that pain body, like, speak your truth. Look, this is disrespect to me, and I'm not going to tolerate it. You're not trying to control the other person. You're just trying to speak your truth. Yes. Another indication of another shadow work that Chiron in the seventh or Chiron in Libra can work on is control issues. Because there may be codependency there, because there may be conflict avoidance, one may try to control the relationship in other ways, whether it be emotional control, manipulation, or whatever. So these are all shadow work issues. Abandonment issues. The fear of being abandoned is another shadow work that Chiron in the seventh or Chiron in Libra can work on, because there's a fear of losing the person. There may be a fear of losing the person, yes? And then there's inner child work, which is the foundation of shadow work. So doing inner child work. Are there abandonment issues? Are there issues of people leaving you and leaving you stranded somewhere? Are there issues of people letting you down in your relationships, whether it be business, intimacy, friendship, or whatever? Are there people betraying you in your relationships? And so that can be inner child work if you've been betrayed as a child or even as an adult. And realizing that, and speaking your truth and standing up for your truth, that what other people do has nothing to do with you, but it's your responsibility to heal that. Or vice versa, if you've been the one inflicting these traumas, yeah? Because it can go both ways. So what are some of the things that Chiron in the seventh or Chiron in Libra can do to heal themselves? One of my favorite crystals, rose quartz, healing the heart. Yes, healing the heart, self-love, loving yourself, putting your trust in yourself, not becoming closed off to everyone else, but putting your trust in yourself, trusting your instincts. Yes, trust when you see the red flags. Trust when you see the same energy, the same spirit, but it's in a different person. You're going to always want to hope that this time it's the right person. This time this person is real. But if you feel the same energy, the spirit, trust that. And that takes practice. So you'll run into this over and over again before you finally say, okay, I got it. Yeah. And you're able to see it. Prioritize yourself. Put yourself first. Love yourself. Heal yourself. Give all of that loving energy that you want to give to everyone else. Give it to yourself. Yes? Be kind to yourself. Self-care. Some of the spiritual things you can do to heal yourself with Chiron in the 7th or Chiron in the or in Libra is that you can do cord cutting ceremonies. So people that you are no longer attached to, people who have hurt you in the past, you're still holding on to their energy, you're still holding on to the anger or whatever, you can do cord cutting ceremonies. And we will have videos on that, but you can look that up anywhere. You can find out how to do a cord cutting ceremony. Yeah. You can do forgiveness rituals. Forgiving. Just forgive people, because remember that everyone that comes into your life, no matter how traumatic the encounter was between you and that person had a contract, and they were there to teach you something, or you were there to teach them something. So there's no need for guilt, because it's all in the contract. Yeah. You were meant to encounter this person so that you could learn a lesson. That person traumatized you. It's part of your growth. It's part of your lesson. So thank them for what they've offered you. Forgive them for the trauma. Forgive yourself for the trauma, and move forward. Chalk it up as a lesson learned. Yes. But don't hold on to the unforgiveness and anger, because that doesn't do anything towards your healing. And that's what you're here for, to heal yourself. Yes. And so you want to do a lot of heart chakra working with the heart, opening up the heart. Yes. And doing all 7 chakras is key, but you want to focus in on the heart chakra. Yeah. Practice being vulnerable with intimacy, even though you've been wounded and hurt. Don't close yourself off to intimacy. Trust yourself, see the red flags, and enjoy the person while they're there. And as soon as they show who they are, let them go. Lesson learned, right? You may be their karmic lesson versus them being your karmic lesson. We're all here. We're all one. We're all on the walk together, and we all help one another evolve. That needs to be said again. We're all here. We're all one. We're all on the journey together, and we're all here to assist one another in evolving. Yeah? Seek partners that are also on a journey of growth. Now, you have some people that want you so bad, they will pretend that they are on a journey of growth, or they want to get in your energy so bad that they'll pretend that they're on a journey of growth. You just have to go through the trials and tribulations of relationships, seeing what people are capable of, trusting your instincts, seeing the red flags. But remember, even if they are pretending that they're on a journey of growth, that too is a lesson. There's a lesson to be learned there. Yes. So once Chiron in the 7th or Libra begins their healing journey, they can assist others on their healing journey. So what are some of the things that they can do? Libra is ruled by beauty. Yes. And so this is the interesting thing that came up in my heart about Chiron in the 7th or Chiron in Libra, is that they can work by healing people by their homes. Yes, because Libra rules beauty. Someone with this placement might be good at interior decorating, feng shuiing people's homes, because whether you know it or not, the home has an astrological chart just like the human being does. And when you set the home up in accordance with this astrological chart, the chi in the home heals the person that resides there, heals anyone that comes in there. So that's a very interesting thing that came up in my spirit about Chiron and Libra, or Chiron in the 7th house. They can be beautiful relationship counselors because they have been through so many different relationships. A lot of times people with Chiron in the 7th house, they aren't even married and they're relationship counselors. Well, how can I be a relationship counselor if I've never been married? Because they have been through so many trials and tribulations with relationships from all aspects, business, intimate, friendships, family. They have been through all types of trials and tribulations with relationships. And so they are literally relationships experts. Yeah. Remember, Chiron could not wound himself, but he could help others. And so this could be a beautiful journey for Chiron in the 7th or Chiron in Libra. Somatic work, which is the trapped energy within people's bodies, people holding on to the trauma in their heart, holding on to the trauma in their sacral chakra, holding on to the trauma in their root chakra. So somatic work is doing stretches and Reiki and energy work to remove that energy from the person's energetic body. This is also something that Chiron in the seventh or Chiron in Libra can do to heal themselves. Yeah. So they would also be very good massage therapists, releasing that energy that's trapped in people's bodies. So these are some of the things. They would also be good as like ministers, in their church, people having relationship issues, and you have a relationship counselor. Yes, because they've experienced so much in the area of relationships that they are literally masters at it. They are literally the wounded healer in the relationship department. Yeah. So that's all I have for you for Chiron in the seventh house or Chiron in Libra. Let's pull my favorite part of it. Let's pull an animal oracle and see what spirit has to say about Chiron in seventh or Chiron in Libra. Spirit is so funny when it comes to these cards. Like the cards that come out, they're so funny to me. Okay, so we're looking for Chiron in Libra or Chiron in the seventh house. Spirit, give me one card, please. Ooh, that came out. Moth spirit, surrender now. Yeah. So let's see what it's about. 39, 9 to number 12. Number 12 equates to the number 3. We know that the number 3 is a powerful, wait a minute. Yeah. 9. Yes. We know that the number 3 is a powerful number when it comes to spirituality. The Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, the tree of life, the mid world where we are right now. The upper worlds are the top of the tree, and the underworld is the lower of the tree. And so 3 has been a valuable number within all spiritual beliefs. Yes. Let's see what Spirit has to say. Moth spirit, number 39. And again, hopefully I can read. Ooh, Mercury retrograde. Moth spirit, surrender now. Oracle message. Moth spirit asks, what is guiding you right now? Are you in alignment with spirit or pursuing something or someone with so much tenacity that it has become compulsive or addictive? Interesting. Yeah. Are you so intoxicated by a potential relationship or opportunity that you can't think straight? Hard work and dedication are virtues, and love, of course, is a beautiful thing. However, when Moth spirit appears, it is time to consider if you have gone over the edge in a relentless pursuit. Workaholism, overeating, perfectionism, or addiction to certainty or even to a person may be your current vice. The form of your addiction does not matter so much as awareness of the consequences of remaining persistent when moderation is needed. Let go of your excessive energy by channeling it in more than one direction. The fire burns hot, and you do not want to be engulfed by your passion to the exclusion of all other pursuits that matter to you. Now is the time for surrender and radical acceptance so that your drive does not cause you to flee or to flight. Spirit wants you to release your need for certainty and control so that you can relax into a more balanced way of using your Moth spirit energy. Banish the shoulds and the musts so that you can enjoy what is as you allow for what might be. The protective message is, Moth spirit can be intense, and honestly about your own compulsive tendencies is needed right now. So honesty about your own compulsive tendencies is needed right now. It is too easy to switch from one addiction to another, distracting yourself from the discomfort of uncertainty and the thoughts and emotions that arise when you aren't single-mindedly pursuing a goal. Moth spirit calls you to practice moderation in all things and recognize when think you are headed towards the light, you are really heading towards the fire that will cause burnout. Recognize when you think you are heading towards the light, but you are really heading towards the fire that will cause burnout. Why are you so resistant to letting up? Could you be avoiding difficult emotions you need to feel and release now? Now is the time to do a fearless inventory so that your addictive tendencies can be toned down and rechanneled into enthusiastic activity in moderation. I love that for Chiron in the 7th or Libra, or Chiron in Libra, moderation in all things. Yes. And so this placement has a tendency to be controlling, codependent, the need to be needed, or the need to need others. And so Moth spirit is calling you, Chiron in the 7th or Chiron in Libra, to do all things in moderation. And just like Libra fashion, it's asking you to be balanced in all that you do, in all of your relationships. Yes? That's all I have for you today for Chiron in the 7th or Chiron in Libra. If you enjoy my content, please don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. It assists me in getting into the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm. Thank you for tuning in to Closing the Gap. We make a conscious effort to meet you wherever you're at on your healing and your spiritual journey. Y'all have a good day. We'll see you next time.